The IPCC report, Understanding the Urgency of Climate Change and What We Can Do About It. Part 1. What is the IPCC? The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, was established by the United Nations Environment Programme and the World Meteorological Organization in 1988. It is a scientific body made up of thousands of scientists from all over the world, who work together to evaluate the state of knowledge about climate change. The IPCC's reports are based on the latest scientific research, and are written by experts who volunteer their time and expertise. The IPCC is widely regarded as the leading authority on climate change, and its reports are used by governments, policymakers, and the public to inform decision-making on climate-related issues. Part 2. The impacts of climate change. Climate change is causing a myriad of devastating impacts that are affecting our planet right now. One of the most visible impacts is the increase in frequency and severity of extreme weather events such as heat waves, droughts, wildfires, hurricanes, and floods. For instance, in recent years, California has suffered from prolonged droughts leading to severe wildfires, while Australia has experienced record-breaking heat waves, leading to widespread bushfires. Another impact is the melting of glaciers and ice caps, which is contributing to the rise of sea levels. This is causing coastal flooding, which is threatening millions of people who live in low-lying areas. In some regions, such as the Marshall Islands in the Pacific, sea level rise is forcing communities to relocate to higher ground. Climate change is also causing disruption in agriculture, leading to food insecurity in many parts of the world. For example, in Africa, prolonged droughts and extreme heat are reducing crop yields, while in Asia, rice production is being affected by flooding and increased saltwater intrusion. Finally, climate change is causing devastating effects on public health, exacerbating respiratory and cardiovascular diseases due to increased air pollution, and exposing people to more frequent and intense heat waves, which can cause heat stroke and dehydration. The consequences of climate change are not just environmental but also economic, social, and political. They pose a significant threat to our way of life and our planet's sustainability, and we must take immediate action to address them. Part 3. What can we do about it? There are many actions that can be taken by individuals, businesses, and governments to address the challenge of climate change. One of the most important steps is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. This can be done by transitioning to renewable energy sources such as solar and wind power, and by improving energy efficiency through measures like building retrofits and the use of energy-efficient appliances. In addition, the agricultural, forestry, and other sectors can adopt more sustainable practices, such as reducing emissions from fertilizer use in livestock, and improving soil health through practices like cover cropping and reduced tillage. These changes not only help reduce greenhouse gas emissions but also lead to a more sustainable food system. To adapt to the impacts of climate change, we need to build more resilient infrastructure and communities. This includes investing in measures such as flood protection and building codes that are more resilient to extreme weather events, such as hurricanes and heat waves. It also includes protecting biodiversity and natural ecosystems, which play a crucial role in mitigating the impacts of climate change. Finally, we need to invest in research and development of new technologies that can help reduce greenhouse gas emissions and adapt to the impacts of climate change. This includes technologies like carbon capture and storage, which can help to remove greenhouse gases from the atmosphere, and the development of more resilient crops and livestock that can withstand changing climate conditions. By taking action in these areas, we can begin to address the challenge of climate change and create a more sustainable and resilient future for ourselves and future generations. Another important aspect of addressing climate change is the potential for job creation in the emerging green economy. As we transition to renewable energy sources and more sustainable practices, there will be a growing need for workers in fields such as solar and wind power, energy-efficient building design, and sustainable agriculture. This presents a unique opportunity for job creation and economic growth while also helping to mitigate the effects of climate change. Governments and businesses can invest in training programs and incentives to promote the growth of these industries, creating a win-win situation for both the economy and the environment. Part 4. What will happen if we do nothing? If we do nothing to address climate change, the impacts will only become more severe and widespread. We can expect to see more frequent and severe weather events, rising sea levels, and increasing displacement of people due to flooding and other disasters. This will lead to significant economic and social costs, as well as risks to human health and well-being. By taking action now to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and adapt to the impacts of climate change, we can help to mitigate these risks and build a more sustainable future. Part 5. A Call to Action. The IPCC report paints a sobering picture of the future if we do not act now to mitigate climate change. The good news is that there are steps we can take as individuals, communities, and societies to address the issue. Here are some actions you can take. Reduce your carbon footprint. You can reduce your carbon footprint by making changes in your daily life, such as eating less meat, using public transport or biking instead of driving, and reducing your energy consumption by turning off lights and unplugging electronics when not in use. Support renewable energy. You can support the transition to renewable energy by investing in renewable energy sources, such as wind or solar power, or advocating for renewable energy policies. Hold politicians accountable. You can hold your elected officials accountable for not taking action on climate change by contacting them and urging them to prioritize climate action. Join or organize a protest. Protests are a powerful way to raise awareness and put pressure on politicians and corporations to take action on climate change. Peaceful protests, sit-ins, and marches can make a real difference in the fight against climate change. For example, the student-led global climate strike in 2019 brought millions of people together in cities around the world to demand action on climate change. Other successful protests in history include the civil rights movement, women's suffrage, and anti-apartheid movement. Contact your elected representatives. Let your representatives know that you care about climate change and want to see action taken. You can write a letter, send an email, make a phone call, or attend a town hall meeting. By making your voice heard, you can help push for policies that will mitigate the impacts of climate change and promote sustainability. Vote. Make sure you're registered to vote and participate in local, state, and national elections. By voting for candidates who support action on climate change, you can help ensure that policies are put in place to address them. Find like-minded individuals. Use social media or online forums to connect with others who share your passion for the environment. Start by joining Facebook groups, Reddit communities, or forums focused on environmental activism. Reach out to local organizations. Research local environmental organizations in your area and reach out to them. Attend meetings or events they host and get involved in their campaigns. Some examples of environmental organizations are the Sierra Club, Greenpeace, and Friends of the Earth. Host events. Host a movie screening, a discussion panel, or a community workshop to raise awareness about environmental issues. Reach out to local libraries, schools, and community centers to see if they would be willing to host your event. Petitions. Create or sign petitions to advocate for specific environmental causes. Websites like change.org or Care2 allow you to create or sign petitions on a wide range of issues. Fundraise. Organize a fundraiser to support a local environmental group or campaign. Host a bake sale, garage sale, or a charity run to raise money for your cause. Remember, organizing and activism can be challenging, but it can also be incredibly rewarding. By connecting with others and taking action, you can make a difference in the fight against climate change. You don't have to do everything alone. Joining a local environmental group or finding like-minded individuals online can help you feel empowered and make a bigger impact. Together, we can create a sustainable future for ourselves and for future generations.